Fired up. We live? Okay, does it say enough time is left available? I thought I deleted some space.
It looks like 2 hours, 59 minutes.
Oh my gosh, that's a long class. You ready? 3 hours, here we go. All right, well, welcome to Healing by Design. We are on fibromyalgia. And as always, let us pray. All right, so Father, we come before you. We thank you so much for your design, that you're all in all. We thank you for Jesus. We thank you for life. We thank you for eternal life for those who choose you. We thank you for this human body, Lord. We don't understand it. We ask for more humility and more knowledge and wisdom from you, Lord, that we would turn from our ways that cause sickness and damage and disease and death. It's not of your heart. It was not your original intention, Lord. And we just ask for alignment and that we'd understand deeper you through our sickness and disease, that we'd embrace and find you when we're struggling with our health, Lord. For you are the only one that has the answers to understanding our bodies and to being free, which is your desire, which is your heart of sickness and disease. We pray in Jesus' name, amen. All right, so fibromyalgia. As always with all of these classes, the intent is for people to understand the human body. I feel like we've lost our understanding of the human body. Most of us, our bodies have gone astray in some way. Some to lesser extent, some to more extent. But everybody's, seems to have some health issues of some sort. And so I am a firm believer that it was not God's heart and intention. I mean, you can read Deuteronomy and you can look at the promises of God for if we walk in our ways, you'll be blessed with these things. And if we don't walk in these ways, well, there's curses, there's problems to that. And one of the things he says, I will not put any of these diseases on you. And so it's clear that what we've done has resulted in the sickness and disease, especially the amount of it we're seeing today. Fibromyalgia would be no different than those, but let's talk about what it is and how to realign. Everything I talk about is how to realign with God's heart and how He'd have intended us to live in these bodies that He designed in His image, so that we're free of these types of issues. So one of my main goals, as always, is to get people off of the man-made medical system, off of all things man-made, really, the man-made food industry, the man-made medical system, the pharmaceutical drugs. You're talking fibromyalgia, you're talking pain and pain conditions and steroids and NSAIDs and painkillers and anti-depressants sometimes and all kinds of different variety of drugs. So we want to get off of those. We want to have health in our bodies through aligning with God's principles of design. So God is our creator, and He gave us a garden, and He said steward it, and He gave us everything we need. And look around us. Where'd the garden go? Like, we have no concept of God's original intent for us for living our lives, especially when it comes to food. So it's much easier to prevent illness than reverse it. If we're talking fibromyalgia, you already got a diagnosis. You really want to learn what kind of situation and condition that is so that you can reverse that and change that. So let's just get into it. Fibromyalgia. What does fibromyalgia mean? It's one of those terms that I'm gonna refer to this as. It might not sound like a fun term, but it kind of describes what it is. We call it kind of a junk diagnosis. And so basically, the medical system doesn't really have any understanding of the body or the human body or how it works or nutrition. They learn about symptoms in school, and they put disease names on symptoms. And so chronic fatigue syndrome would be one of those as well, where it's, oh, you're chronically fatigued. Let's call it chronic fatigue syndrome, and we'll give you some drugs to help you feel better. And so fibromyalgia is kind of one of those things. Almost always with these disease conditions that the medical industry is making up, it's always just based off of the symptoms and what's happening in your body, what you're feeling in your body. So fibro would be fibrous, something that's fibrous, that's made of fiber structure, fiber components, which is pretty much all of your bones, joints, ligaments, tissues, etc. And then myalgia. So maya is muscle, and algia is pain. So think of neuralgia. There's different types of algia conditions, but fibromyalgia is fibrous muscle pain. That's your fancy Greek word for what is going on in your body. So again, this is just a description of what's happening in your body. It's not going to help you really to know what that diagnosis is, because one thing I try to stress to people is, and it sounds weird to people, but maybe I can give you a good example, but there's really no such thing as disease. There's only lack of health. And the lack of health can be described in thousands of different ways, depending on what you're feeling or what's going on in your body. And it's a very real thing that's happening to you, but it's a lack of health. It's kind of like there's no such thing as darkness, right? It's only a lack of light. So when you have a lack of God or a lack of Jesus, you have darkness. When Jesus came into the world, he was the light of the world. And if all would turn to him, it would eradicate all darkness. So just an example, but it's kind of like with health. So all these, again, these names, these diagnoses, they're real symptoms, they're real pain, they're real struggles going on with people, but it's really, at its core, is a lack of health in the body. And so I was looking up fibromyalgia. I mean, I giggle at these things, but really what it is, it's very sad. I mean, you go to websites like WebMD that are supposed to be like the go-to for health issues, and it just shows how little they know about health in the human body. I mean, the first thing it says is, this illness that is incurable, that has no known cause. So it's incurable, they don't know what it comes from, but they want you to go see a fibromyalgia specialist. I mean, can you guys see, can you see the weirdness of what's going on here? I mean, you're going to a fibromyalgia specialist who tells you there's no cure, who doesn't know what caused it, yet he's a specialist in it. Like, I can't even wrap my brain around that. But this is the kind of stuff that's happening in our medical industry. We do know what causes it. There is a cure for it. And it's just like with any of these illnesses, if we get back to how God designed us to live, do we not believe that God is not a healer? Of course we do. So we talk about, God's a healer, and then we go to the doctor and he's like, well, you got this incurable illness, you're going to take pain drugs the rest of your life. And so there's this dichotomy going on, especially in the Christian viewpoint, of how can my doctor say there's no cure? I don't want to claim this. I mean, you hear people say, I'm not claiming this disease. That's good. That's good. Don't claim it. It's not really how God designed you to be or to live or to feel. The pain you're feeling is very real. It's very real. So I don't want to downplay it, because I call it a junk diagnosis, but the pain is very real. But if you understand how the medical industry works, the goal of the medical industry, and I haven't said this in a while, so I'll say it again. I say it in classes all the time, but the goal of the medical industry is to put a name on your disease that makes you helpless, that makes you feel like there's nothing you can do about it, that makes you a customer for life, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for lifelong customers. So once you get the fibromyalgia diagnosis, you're defeated because there's no cure. You're reliant on a man-made system for the rest of your life. You might take any variety of painkillers or antidepressants to manage your condition, and you're in bondage. Now, is that God? Where's God in that? God's not in that. God is, let's learn how the human body works. Let's learn what's causing this condition. Let's change our habits and our lifestyle to reverse the situation and bring freedom. And so my heart is always to share God's heart, which is freedom. James 1:17, the giver of good gifts, the Father of lights. He gave everything to us that we need if we choose it. Do we choose God and the things of God, or do we choose man and the things of the world, or Babylon, or however you want to look at it, but all the things that are not of God's heart? And that's what's led us into a lot of these disease conditions that we're talking about today. So, like I said, the pain is real. It's muscle pain, throughout the entire body, debilitating for some people. People go on disability. People can't function. They can't work. They can't raise their kids. And where are they getting answers or solutions or understanding of what's actually going on in their body? Fatigue, like fatigue to the point where you can't even function. Sleep issues. Yeah, so like I said, it's debilitating. So let's talk about what it is and what fibromyalgia actually is and what you can do to not have this label, because again, it's just another example of a lack of health in the body. All chronic disease conditions, all chronic pain conditions are ultimately the body is shifted to a state of poor chemistry inside the body. Let's put it that way. So we've all heard of like acid-alkaline balance, and you need to be alkaline. Like we've all heard that. That's kind of all the buzz. I didn't understand the depth of how important that was and the depths of the acidity issues going on inside of our bodies, whether we recognize it or not. When the Lord led me to iridology, where I could look at people's eyes, I can see the depth of the sickness in their bodies. Even when people think they're healthy and well and they have no symptoms and no issues, you can see the toxicity in their bodies. But when you see people that are sick and you see what's going on in their eye, it's right there. It's right there in the eye. And so it's very clear, and it's a buildup of acidosis. It's a buildup of toxins and poisons in the body that cannot get out. So think of it again, fibromyalgia, chronically debilitating pain in the muscles of the body. How does that happen? How does that happen? There has to be some toxic, acidic, poison, something that would cause your muscles to be aching and hurting, that would cause pain and inflammation throughout your body. So like I said, most of these issues are the same thing. They just label it different things depending on what doctor feels like label he wants to put on it based on the symptoms. But you know, whether it's multiple sclerosis or fibromyalgia or lupus or whatever, they're all chronic, debilitating acidosis types of condition, where the acid waste build up in the body to the point where it starts to eat away and destroy human tissue. So if the nerves get destroyed, we're going to call it multiple sclerosis. If the bones get destroyed, we're going to call it osteoporosis. If the muscles are getting destroyed, we're going to call it fibromyalgia. But again, it's all basically the same type of a thing. So when acids build up in the body and they start to eat away and damage and destroy parts of the body, like the muscles, for example, how does the body combat that? Because the way God designed the body is always healing. It's a self-healing mechanism. We know that. We can cut our arm and it heals. You know, I don't cut my arm and go to the doctor and he's like, that's an incurable cut right there, young man. No, I mean, you know that heals. So if this heals, why do we not think things inside of our body could heal? Like, it doesn't even make sense. This is how off the medical industry is. So the body, as it's trying to heal itself, is building up scar tissue to repair the damaged areas and damaged parts of the body. So again, acid waste buildup, destruction of muscles in different parts of the body, creates damage. The body brings in fibrin. So if you've ever had a scar or seen scar tissue or clumpy scar tissue, it's fibrous, it's fibrin, it's fibrinolytic tissue. The body brings in fibrin to repair the damaged muscle, and the scar tissue builds up in the muscles. And as it continues to build up, it becomes chronic. And that's when the pain starts setting in at deeper and deeper and deeper levels. So it starts with this acidosis condition. The systems I want to talk about in the body, and then I'll talk about just some things to kind of reverse this situation, is, well, you know what, I'll get to that. I'll get to cleansing, because that, I think, is the most important. So let's go back to acidosis. So we have an acidosis condition inside the body. How does that happen? How does somebody get diagnosed with fibromyalgia or neuralgia or, like I said, any of these other pain conditions? It doesn't just happen. God's design is cause and effect. I've used these examples many times, but you don't put diet soda on your plant and expect it to live. You don't take a deer out of the wild and feed it Doritos and Pop-Tarts and Coca-Cola and expect it to live a long life. You know, people didn't do that to their horses and their cows. They took care of their animals and fed them what God designed the animal to eat. And God gave us what to eat in the garden, and we're not choosing those things. So we can't be overly surprised and wonder where God is when we get sick or get a diagnosis or get a disease. I don't want to put all of the weight on your shoulders who's listening to this, because it is certainly the fault of your mom and your dad and your grandma and your grandpa and your great-grandma, and we'll go all the way back to Adam and Eve, because we've been messing up for a long, long time. It's just gotten a lot worse in this generation, in the last 4 or 5 generations. This is why our children are sick. Now, as adults, you know, we have the choice to be silly and do what we want and eat what we want and not think it matters. Our children don't. And like these little guys over here in the back, see, they don't have a choice. You know, a lot of children are born into toxicity and sickness and disease because of the choices of our parents and our grandparents. So what I always share is that regardless of your situation, your diagnosis, God chose you to live in this generation now. He's called us all to be overcomers. All the stuff that I have going on, yes, God knows it's partially to blame my parents and my grandparents. But he called me to overcome it in this generation for myself and my family and my children. And so that's what we have to do. We have to embrace that. So to do that, we have to not accept what the medical industry says, that there's no cure, accept that you have to take medication the rest of your life, because that makes you a victim and you can't do anything about it. So why not just live your life how you want and eat what you want, because there's nothing you can do about it anyway, right? I've seen that happen with people who are diabetic. People who are diabetic. Doctor says there's no cure, there's nothing you can do about it. As long as you take your insulin, you don't have to change your diet. And of course, who doesn't like to eat sugar and junk food? Well, my doctor said it's okay as long as I take my insulin. And do doctors realize that they're contributing to that person's demise? Do we have any concept of what we're doing in our medical industry? Or do we care? Or is it just a total lack of knowledge or lack of understanding, a lack of wisdom? I think it's a combination of all of those things, sadly. But so how do you reverse it? The first thing you have to do is you have to switch to an alkaline diet. And this is what people don't want to do, but they do when they're forced to, or God speaks to them. There's not a lot of them, but I meet a lot of people who are like, yeah, I changed my diet because I really felt like the Lord told me to. That's awesome. Most people change their diet because they're miserable, they're in pain, and they've found it's the only way that makes them feel better. That's great. Like I said, God will use it. God will use anything to bring us back into alignment with him and his heart and how he designed us to live. And how he designed us to live was the Garden of Eden. Genesis 1:29, all seed-bearing plants shall be your food. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, legume, basically. Now we can get into meat and we can get into grains and talk about all that, so I don't want to get too deep into that. But he designed us to live in a garden with fresh fruits and vegetables, mainly. And most people don't like those things. And most of us, like me included, grew up eating nothing but junk and macaroni and cheese and fried food and fast food and ice cream, and who cares, right? It's just live life and have fun. A lot of us have realized that it doesn't work that way. Like I said, we don't do that to our plants, we don't do that to our animals, but yet it's okay for us to do that to ourselves. Of course not. And we wouldn't do that to our children. You know how ironic it is when parents eating pizza and ice cream, but their 2-year-old, no, you can't have that. This is adult food. No, I'm just joking. So it is pretty crazy. So the first thing you want to do is an alkaline diet. And so we're talking acid waste building up in the body. What builds up acid waste in the body? Well, all the foods most of us grew up eating. Bread, pasta, pizza, crackers, meat, coffee, sugar, healthy sugar, maple syrup, agave, cane sugar. It's acid. It was never designed to go into the human body in the amounts that we're using it. Natural sugar doesn't help you get healthy. It might be 10% less bad than the white sugar, but it's not going to help you get well. No, there's no version of a healthy sugar that's going to help you get well. There's no version of healthy, raw-fed, grass dairy that's going to help you get well. Just my opinion. Because when the body's already compromised, it's already acidic, especially to the point where you're dealing with something like, when you're dealing with fibromyalgia to the point where it's a diagnosis, your pain is real and it's severe. So I have to stress the fact that you're not going to eat the healthy bread and get better. You're not going to eat the healthy homemade ice cream and get better. I'm not saying you can't do those things once in a while. It is not going to help you get better. You have to get the acid load out of your body. That means stop eating grains, sugars except fruit, all dairy, and meat. If you want to eliminate all meat, great. If you want to go down to one little palm-sized portion once a day, fish, chicken, turkey, great. But get away from the heaviness of the acidic standard American diet that will continue to build an acid load in your body. So you're probably saying to yourself, well, how do I build an acid load in my body? How come my body doesn't just take care of all this when I eat? It's a good question. Did any of you guys ask that? Are you asking that in your head? No, maybe not. Okay. So that's a complicated answer. I will say genetics plays a role. Again, children born and they can't handle dairy. They can't even handle breast milk sometimes. They're already congested. Their systems are already backed up. Their digestion's not working. Their filters are blocked. Their liver's not processing at birth. This is why children are born jaundiced. And children have allergies. And children are getting ear infections, getting tubes in their ears, and getting asthma, and getting bronchitis and infections. Little babies. So we have to switch to this kind of alkaline diet to take the acid load off the body. Children are being born with it, but what's happening in our bodies, it's actually pretty simple, is yes, God designed an amazing human body. Yes, I give the example of a factory. The body's a factory, and it's designed to put in raw materials, have a healthy end product, let's say, we'll call that energy, we'll call that life force, and to also have waste and pollution. Right? Bears poop, deer poop, your dog poops. So even healthy green foods and fruits and vegetables have a waste byproduct, right? So it depends on how well our system is working, how well our factory is working. And if we put in 3, 4, 5, 6 times more food than the human body needs to function, and we're not active, the body gets overwhelmed. And the systems start to slow down a little bit. The factory starts to slow down a little bit. Maybe look at age could be a factor. Genetics could be a factor. The lifestyle you're living, how active you are, food can be a factor. And there's so many different factors. But the bottom line is a combination of those factors has led to your body not being able to eliminate all the toxins and the acid waste fast enough for you to sustain life in your body. Does that make sense? So for example, I'll just give you one example. When you eat meat, okay? Some people do great with meat. Some people have eaten meat their whole lives. My grandparents have eaten meat their whole lives. A lot of people that I work with, and I'm one of them myself, don't do well with meat, don't feel well after eating meat. Realize that eating meat, they are a lot better because meat creates a huge acid load on the body. Is there some nutrition in there? Sure, but there's a whole lot of waste. And it creates a whole lot of acids, and it builds up a lot of ammonia in the body, and the liver has to process that and break it down into urea to eliminate out through your kidneys, and then all the solid waste has to be eliminated out through your colon, and there's a whole lot of stress involved in the body to digest and break down and process and use meat. Do you have that problem with a blueberry? Do you have that problem with a carrot? No. So if you put better quality building materials in your body, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, and not processed foods, and again, pizza, flour, sugar, bread, sweets, candy, soda pop, all these things, you're overloading your factory. You're creating so much acid waste and toxic buildup. All of a sudden your body, instead of being like Colorado mountains, turns into like the smog in LA. But we can't see inside of our body, so we don't think about it. Or we don't notice it or don't recognize it or realize it until the symptoms appear and we have to do something about it. So I'm just trying to stress the importance of getting out heavy acidic foods, because fibromyalgia is something you don't have to live with. There's no cure. Eat raw fruits and vegetables for 30 days and tell me your pain's not 100% gone. And you want it gone even faster? Juice fast. Juice fast for 30 days. You know, one thing I say kind of jokingly, but I'm really serious, if everybody in America went on a 30-day juice fast, I'm just making this number up, but I would guess that somewhere between 70 to 80% of everything out there we know as the medical industry would be completely unnecessary. Because in 30 days, people would be out of pain. They wouldn't have headaches. They wouldn't have high blood pressure. They wouldn't have diabetes and blood sugar issues. All of it would go away. If we would just choose the simplicity of God, the simplicity of what God gave us originally, that we should have been choosing originally all the way through to now to heal our bodies. So you want to heal fibromyalgia, get the acids out of your body by eating an alkaline diet. So what's alkaline diet? Greens, fruits and vegetables. Greens, fruits and vegetables. Greens, fruits and vegetables. You want a rough, again, this is rough. It's your journey. You talk to the Lord about it. I just talk. Roughly 80-20. If you can go 80% fruits, vegetables, and greens, and go 10 to 20% nuts, seeds, and if you eat meat, great, but eat lean, quality meats. Eat fish, chicken, turkey, eggs. Get away from pork and beef and shellfish and all that stuff. And you'll alkalize your body. And you'll reverse this situation. And what you're doing is not only switching to an alkaline diet, but you're not continuously bombarding the body all day, every day with an acidic waste load that it cannot handle. And you know the waste load is too big for the body when the acids are so in the joints and the muscles and the tissue that you're in pain. This should be an obvious indicator. God talks to us through our bodies. So just switch that. Just switch that. Is it boring to eat fruits and vegetables and salads every day? It might be if all you've eaten in your life is bread, cheese, and meat and sandwiches like I grew up eating. But you can have fun with it. You'll start to like it more. It'll get easier, but it will get you out of pain. So it really depends on your motivation level. If you want to get out of pain and not rely on all those non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs and anti-depressants and all those things they give people for fibromyalgia, you don't need any of that. So that's why the medical industry or your doctor probably doesn't know, but even if they know, they don't tell you. Because again, their goal is for you to stay as a customer. And sick people are customers. And again, that's not God's intention. God's intention is freedom for all people of sickness and disease. All right, so greens, fruits, vegetables. I give you a couple ideas. Lemons, we all know lemon's good in our water. Lemon alkalizes the body. I'm going to give you an awesome drink that's in our kidney cleanse. It's lemon, apple cider vinegar, and baking soda. Baking soda is the most alkalizing thing you can put in your body. Apple cider vinegar and lemon are also alkalizing. They're acidic, but when you drink them, they have an alkaline ash, and they remove toxins and waste and stones and different things out of your body. But that is a drink I've given to people for a long time, is that blend of baking soda, lemon, apple cider vinegar. So again, eat raw fruits and vegetables. Do lemon, baking soda, and apple cider vinegar. In 30 days, tell me if there's any reason at all for you to believe that you still have a fibromyalgia diagnosis. And there's other things you can do too. I'm just giving you a couple little things. There's other things you can do. Greens, very alkalizing. I'm going to give you my favorites. You can choose what excites you. But the darker green, the more chlorophyll, the more light. God is light. Things of God heal. And the darkest green thing you can possibly buy is spirulina, which is an algae. So I love doing spirulina for people who want to alkalize their body and to get healthy. You can do tablets, you can do powder. Chlorella is another one. The three probably most well-known nutrient-dense green superfoods on the planet, and I'm sure people would have different opinions, and that's totally fine. But I would say spirulina, wheatgrass, and alfalfa. And you can buy alfalfa tablets, you can buy wheatgrass, you can throw these things in juices, you can throw them in smoothies, you can throw it on your salad, however you want to do it. But you start putting these things in your body, you're going to start to alkalize your body. Now let me tell you the mistake people make is thinking that you can put spirulina, wheatgrass, and what was the other one I said? Alfalfa in your body, and you're going to get better, but you're going to continue to eat your bread, meat, and cheese. It doesn't work that way. That's what a lot of people do. A lot of people have learned some good things to do. They start doing their morning juice or their smoothie or their greens or whatever, and those are all good things, but they're still eating all the junk. Now that's okay for a transition, but you're not going to get ahead because you're still putting the toxic load on your body of all this ammonia and acids and things that it's got to eliminate that it can't because your body's overloaded and congested. And so you want to change the diet first and foremost, then add these great things. Because let me tell you, my heart, what hits me hard sometimes is when people say, oh, I tried the natural route, it didn't work. Well, what does that mean? I tried the natural thing, it didn't work. I mean, we hear that people with serious stuff like cancer, but even headaches or different things. Oh, I tried that and it didn't work. Oh my gosh, there's so many nuances to that. We don't know how that person's living their lifestyle, how serious their disease condition is, how hard they went after eating an alkaline diet and juicing and doing the right things. But to me, saying that the natural way doesn't work is almost to me like an insult to God, because God is the natural way. And we have this medical industry that says, oh, there's no proof, there's no studies that any of these natural things work, or these herbs or nutrition. Does that even really play that much of a role? There's no proof. I mean, what are you saying? I mean, you're basically saying that the things of God aren't proven, don't really help, don't really heal, don't really work. Well, that's never true. That's never true. God is our creator. He's the only one that can heal us. He's the only one that can heal us. No painkiller from the medical industry ever cured anyone of anything. It might have helped them live a better life with less pain. I'm not against that. But I'm really pro reestablishing health in your body so that you don't need that and you're not reliant on that, because all of those things come with negative side effects. But the things of God work. And so this is the battle going on. And if you really want to know what it is, and I'll be cautious of my wording, but there's a battle going on between the medical industry and natural things, because really it's a war on God. There's a war on God in our educational system. There's a war on God in our government. I mean, are these secret things that I'm telling you? Oh, I didn't know that. There is a war on God going on in our medical industry. Why? Because the enemy wants people dead, sick, and wants to take all their money doing it. That's what's going on. And God just says, I want you to function in the way I designed you to function, one with me in his image, free of all of that stuff. Of course we know that is what God wants for us. So just starts with the diet change, because I really think that's the most important. So let's see, what else? We do have a product called pH Quintessence. It's to increase pH in the body. It's actually a 40-to-1 alfalfa concentrate. So if you want something really strong, really concentrated to increase pH quickly, baking soda probably increases pH the most quick in the human body. This pH Quintessence, this 40-to-1 alfalfa concentrate's really good. I mentioned the drinks, the baking soda, lemon, apple cider vinegar. Another thing to consider, I'm just giving you things to consider with fibromyalgia. I believe the number one reason is diet, hands down. Because again, the acid waste load of the body can't be handled properly. The acids are building up in the tissues, damaging the body, breaking it down, creating scar tissue. But there are other things you want to consider. One is infections. So when you have parasites, yeast, fungus, mold, bacteria, candida, they all secrete ammonia. They all secrete acetaldehyde. They secrete alcohol-based toxic acidic waste byproducts. So same thing, It's just another reason that a person's body is overwhelmed with an acid load. It's because of infections in your body. So you might need to do a parasite cleanse. You might need to do a candida yeast cleanse. The other thing to consider is metals, heavy metals. That's been linked to a lot of different health issues. I don't think that's as big a one of fibromyalgia. I would mainly look at diet and doing some cleansing, getting the organs working, the filters working in the body better, and maybe getting rid of some infections if they're present. But heavy metals is something to consider as well. All right. Another thing to do outside of nutrition and changing your diet, I'm going to highlight magnesium, because magnesium is a huge chronic deficiency in our culture, and our bodies don't have enough because of our poor diet and our poor lifestyles. Stress and anxiety burns magnesium out of the body. You need magnesium for basic muscle function and nerve function. We're talking about pain in the muscles more than anywhere. And so when people do magnesium, it relieves pain. It's a vasodilator. It relaxes the muscles. It helps with stress and anxiety. Because think, you know, a lot of times with fibromyalgia and some of these conditions comes a big mental load on the body too. The fear, I'm going to be sick the rest of my life. I'm never going to be free of this. Depression, that's why they give people antidepressants. Like, this is real. Like, people are really suffering with these issues they do not have to suffer with. So magnesium, the best form is magnesium chloride, chloride, chloride. We use Health and Wisdom magnesium chloride. Oh, I did show and tell today. So I got magnesium oil foot soaks. And I've given this to people for years. Stress, anxiety, calm, relax, turns off the busy brain, helps people fall asleep quicker. But it'll also help with muscle pain in a big way, cramping. You can also rub it directly on any part of your body, but I like to get the little foot tub, fill it with just enough warm water to cover your toes, add a couple ounces of magnesium oil, and just soak. And that's great. And then you can get the bath crystals too. So a warm magnesium bath. So magnesium chloride is the best form because it's the most absorbable into the body. It's the most pure form that it comes out of the earth. You can get magnesium through plants. All greens have magnesium. Magnesium gluconate is the plant-based form of magnesium, so you can look for that if you can't find magnesium chloride. And then Epsom salts are okay too, if you just want to do an Epsom salt bath. But Epsom salts don't restore magnesium to the cells of the body like magnesium chloride does. Epsom salts are magnesium sulfate. It's a different kind of magnesium. It's very relaxing, but it's not going to restore magnesium to a magnesium deficient body, let's just say it that way. For pain and inflammation, again, nutrition's most important. Cut back the acid load. No more fibromyalgia. But to help with pain, because out there you're giving painkillers that are addictive and teenagers are hooked on, and it's too readily available on the market, and it causes all kinds of negative side effects like liver damage and kidney damage and on down the list. But again, the pain is real, so you want to get out of pain. So I'm a fan of the CBD oil, which is the hemp oil. I've talked about it in classes before. It's incredibly popular for stress and anxiety, but also pain and inflammation. It's from hemp, and you can do it in capsule form, and it helps people with pain. Another one is turmeric, and we like to use something called Tumerol, which is a concentrated liquid extract of turmeric, cold-pressed concentrated extract. And it also has oregano and cinnamon and a couple other things in it, but it's called Tumerol by North American Herb and Spice. And then we have something called Dotacin, which is a blend of 12 different anti-inflammatories. So we've heard of turmeric, and we've probably heard of milk thistle and boswellia and papain enzymes and the bromelain enzymes, and there's all kinds of natural anti-inflammatories. Well, these are all in one product. There's 12 of them in there. It's called Dotacin, and we've had a lot of people have good results with that. I'm just giving you an option for an alternative to a painkiller. Nothing's going to work like a pharmaceutical drug, but that's also why it damages the body, and that's why you don't want to be on it long term. I can't give you anything in our store here that's going to replace morphine if you're in crippling pain, right? So there's a time and a place for those kind of things. Ideally, only when it's saving somebody's life. But as far as after that, let's reverse this condition through nutrition and other means. You can also take a bath in magnesium or baking soda. Baking soda. Athletes would do a little bit of baking soda to help with muscle soreness because it would offset all the lactic acid buildup from working out. They used to call it dope loading. They even had a word for it, but it was just baking soda. And it would help their recovery time and help them not getting sore during events. So there's all kinds of little tricks and things you can do to get out of pain. I'm going to tell you one of the best things I've seen, and I gave you a little article just for fun from this company called Arthur Andrew Medical, and it's this product called Neprinol, Neprinol, and it says Advanced Fibrin Defense right on it. Enzymes are the catalysts that make things happen in your body. So it makes minerals work and vitamins work, and it helps break down food. We've all heard of digestive enzymes. Well, there's something called systemic enzymes. They get into the blood, and I call it like Pac-Man, the old game Pac-Man. I remember Pac-Man as a kid. Not that old, but. So I used to gobble up, the little dots. Well, that's what enzymes do, systemic enzymes do. They get into your blood, and they eat up old, sick, dead, diseased scar tissue, plaque buildup. I usually give that to people with blocked arteries. It clears out their arteries that are leading towards heart disease. But people notice that they had this surgical scar on their stomach and this big clump of scar tissue there, and they start taking the enzymes, and a month later they came in and they go, all that scar tissue I had right there is gone. And that's not even why they were taking it. But I just thought, that's really interesting. But that's what that does, is it eats up fibrinolytic tissue, which is scar tissue. And this company, it's the article I gave you, they did a study, and they took, I don't remember if it says how many people, but they took people with a fibromyalgia diagnosis, and they gave them this product, and in 6 months, 66% of them had no symptoms at all of fibromyalgia, and 33% still had mild symptoms of it after 6 months. And that was probably just taking the Neprinol. And I'm telling you that just changing your diet, you can get out of pain. So if you combine these things together, one of my favorite things to say, it is impossible for you not to get better. It's impossible for you not to realize that God is a healer and did not intend for you to have sickness and disease, especially on these types of conditions. So Neprinol cleans out scar tissue and cleans out the fibrin buildup in the muscles, very specific to fibromyalgia. And I encourage people to start slow, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. Always has to be on an empty stomach. The goal is to get it into the bloodstream. So you want to do it on an empty stomach. Do 1 and 1 the first week. This is how I encourage people to titrate up slowly. Second week, do 2 and 2, 2 in the morning, 2 at night. Then 3 and 3 the third week, 4 and 4 the fourth week, 5 and 5 the fifth week. 10 a day is the max dose. And that's what I give people for fibromyalgia or heart disease or different issues. They're a great company. You can call them. They have medical doctors on staff that you can talk to. They're just a really neat company. So I like that product a lot. The reason I have people start slow is it can clean out the body. It can, some people get dizzy because it actually increases oxygen flow into the body at such a capacity that people aren't used to that much oxygen going through their brain. They actually get dizzy. So you do want to start slow with it because it does open things up in the body. It's a pretty neat product. The last thing I'm going to highlight is a crucially important component that I would put right up there, right paralleled with nutrition changes, and that's cleansing. Because you can change your diet and get out of pain and feel better, but all those acid wastes that are built up in those 100,000 plus miles of this amazing design of the blood and the cardiovascular system and the lymphatic system and the bile ducts and the kidney tubes and just everything in the body, it takes effort to clean all these things out. And so I love the nutrition change to an alkaline diet because now you're not increasing the acid load in your body, and your body probably will say thank you and catch up a little bit, and again, the pain will probably go away. But you really need to go deeper and cleanse. And so the main systems you need to cleanse for fibromyalgia, I'm going to be very specific with this because these are the two areas, if you focus on these two things, again, you will get out of pain. And more importantly, I think my desire is that people don't fear sickness and disease. Oh yeah, well I made a couple of changes, but it'll probably come back. Or my parents had it, so is it really always just kind of there lingering? The truth is that we have to clean out our bodies at a deep level of all of these blocked up lymph vessels and blood vessels, of which, again, there's 100,000 plus miles of them in there. So it takes time to do that. So the two main things you need to focus on is, number one, your kidneys. If you're talking about the fluid systems of the body, what feeds your muscles? Blood. The kidneys is what eliminates all fluid waste out of the body. So unless you're doing a lot of sweating, which I encourage, unless you're doing a lot of sweating through exercising or working or laboring out in the fields or just not turning on your air conditioning because you're weird like me, torturing our family. I do when it's in the 90s, but when it's in the 80s, I don't. So, but it's good to sweat. It's good to sweat. That's a way to cleanse. That's a way to detox. But unless you're sweating a lot, all fluid waste leaves the body through the kidneys. And I've talked about this with the kidneys a lot before, but I'm going to share it again. Your urine should be dark, cloudy, and stinky and full of sediment. If your urine is clear, if you're peeing all the time, there's a problem. Your kidneys are blocked up, and you're not eliminating toxins and waste out of your body. So there's a whole lot of nuances to that I don't want to get at in this class, but you need to understand that especially if you have a known health issue, you have toxins in the body. If your urine's not super dark and super stinky, you're not getting the waste out of your body. And these acids will stay in your body and continue to accumulate. And that's why the medical industry say there's no cure, because we don't change our ways. We don't change our diet. We don't change our lifestyle. We don't do the things it takes to get the sickness and disease out of the body. It takes work. So get the kidneys filtering and eliminating waste. That's step one. And we have a kidney cleanse that we recommend for people, and I try to help talk people through that. The second system is the system that dumps all of its toxins and waste into the kidneys, and that is the lymphatic system. And the job of the lymphatic system is to clean your blood and to keep all toxins and poisons and waste out of your blood. And what feeds your blood? What feeds your muscles is your blood. So you see the cascade of events that can happen here. Kidneys and lymph gets backed up, your blood can't get cleaned. Acids, ammonia, waste, toxins stay in your blood, start to deposit in your joints, your muscles, your nerves. Depending on where your weaknesses are, or depending on where the poisons accumulate, the medical industry says you have arthritis, you have rheumatoid arthritis, you have multiple sclerosis, you have fibromyalgia. It's all the same thing. It's a lack of health. It's a buildup of acid waste in the body that can't get out. So cleansing the lymph will unblock the lymph and allow the lymph to start cleaning blood better. And if you get your blood cleaned up, then you can get proper nutrition to your muscles, and the blood can actually start to pull the acids and the waste out of the body where it had been having to deposit them. When the body's so overwhelmed with toxins and poisons, again, God's always trying to protect us. He's not going to put all those poisons in your heart. He's going to put all those poisons in the extremities. That's why people get gout and joint pain and arthritis in the extremities of their body. The toxins accumulate in the joints in the extremities of the body, or in the muscles, or in the nerves. It's going to try to protect the internal organs. But if it's overwhelmed to the point where the body has no choice, this is just what it comes down to, body has no choice on where to put toxins anymore, it's going to start to break down your muscles or your nerves or whatever. Was that God's choice? Was that his intention? No. The body's doing what it can to try to survive in spite of what we keep throwing at it. So we have to cleanse the lymphatic system. And people know when they have clogged lymphatic systems. I mean, they probably don't because the medical industry doesn't even talk about it or really know anything about it. They hardly study it in school. And if you don't have a diagnosis of lymphoma or lymphedema, they don't really talk about the lymphatic system. But if you have, if you grew up with allergies and asthma and reoccurring sickness and infections and getting tubes in your ears and having dairy and other food intolerances and having edema and swelling in your fingers or your toes or breast tenderness and soreness around your cycle or fibrocystic breast cancer, all of those things are all blocked and congested lymph. And so if you clean up, get the kidneys opened up and get the lymph cleaned out, you're going to free up your body to be able to clean blood healthier and start to remove those acid waste out of your muscles. So that's kind of the chain of events that ideally needs to occur. And now we could talk about other organs. Yes, your colon needs to be working and you need to be getting waste out through your colon, and your liver should be clean because the liver is really important at filtering blood. That's what the liver does, is it filters blood. And what it comes down to? Blood. It comes down to blood. It comes down to healthy blood. Leviticus 17, the life of all flesh is in the blood. So, what's that?
Something in the air.
Oh. I thought you were doing, I don't know. So, yes, so the life of all flesh is in the blood. So human health comes down to the health of our blood. And so I'm learning that more and more. The Lord highlights that to me more and more, that His design of the body is to keep blood healthy. And that's why we have a liver that filters blood, and a spleen that filters blood, and lungs that filter out carbon dioxide waste, and a colon that removes waste, and kidneys that remove waste, and lymph that cleans the blood. It's all to protect and keep the blood healthy. And so that's fibromyalgia. And we don't have to believe the lie that we don't know what it is, that we can't cure it, that we can't get off the medications, because none of that is true. And I really want to see people free, especially from sickness and disease, especially from a debilitating pain condition. I mean, how many people probably have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, had to quit their job, struggle to raise their family, with no understanding or concept of what it was, and who knows if they learn the truth or not? Who knows if they learn the truth or not? But the medical industry should have a responsibility to help human life. They're not doing it. They're destroying human life. They're keeping information from people that should be healing people and helping people. I'm not blaming the doctors and the nurses. It's the system. It's the way the system was designed by people up here, which I won't name their names, but it's a lot of high money families that goes way back 100 plus years that created this industry to make money at the expense of human life. And don't think the demonic wasn't involved in that, because it's all about that. As I said, this really is a spiritual battle over human life. All right, so on that note, I love you. And, and yes, any questions?
Okay, I have a question. You mentioned that about the urine. Now, what about the stool? Is that good also, that it's stinky and that it's, I mean, we don't know all what waste would come through that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like the stool, should it be stinky and all that? They say if your body gets really cleaned out that like your poop won't stink. So I don't know. Has anybody experienced that?
I think if you add meat, usually when you feed your baby, as soon as you introduce meat, that very benign smell becomes a whole lot different.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Because meat stagnates. Meat rots in the gut. I mean, that's why people are getting away from meat. You got to have very strong digestion to handle meat.
Yeah.
And that does. That's going to create a gross stool. Meat does. And it's true. I mean, so I don't want to get into a big thing on this because, hey, we're all one in Christ Jesus. It doesn't matter if you eat meat or not. It's not about the meat. But there's a lot of people who are going away from meat. There's a lot of people who are vegetarians and vegans, and they will tell you that their poop isn't stinky because they eat plants. And there's not as much waste byproduct. So the more grains and sugars and things you eat that ferment in your gut, the more meat you eat. Plus, think of the combination of foods we eat. who didn't grow up eating, meat and cheese and bread and potatoes and steak and then having apple pie for dessert? I mean, that's going to create some soup, some toxic soup in there. So, any other questions?
The baking soda bath, how much do you put in a bath?
Baking soda bath, how much do you put in it? A cup is a great amount to put in a bath. Now, we have food grade baking soda here. I recommend if people are going to do it internally at all to get the food grade one. But if you're just going to do it in a bath, I would go to Costco and I'd get the giant bag for like $10, and I would do that for the baths for sure.
And then if you're doing it, so get the food grade for the half teaspoon in water.
Right. Yeah, if you're just going to put a half teaspoon in your water, drink that a couple times a day.
You said lemon, apple cider vinegar, and baking soda. What proportions are you talking about, like different drinks with those
No.
blends in it, or one drink?
You can mix them all together. It'll be a little science experiment. You'll see little bubbles. But so this is rough, but half a teaspoon of baking soda. And I tell people about a tablespoon of lemon juice and a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar if you can handle it okay. A teaspoon, great, but a tablespoon, better. But it's pretty strong stuff. So
Okay. Work your way out.
The two, I haven't done the third. I drink apple cider vinegar other times.
yeah.
I never thought of putting the three together.
Yeah, you totally can. And then baking soda, another way you can do it is you can do baking soda just in water on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. It'll get into your system better and quicker. It won't cause all the little chemical reactions. And then you can do apple cider vinegar and lemon later. But it's fine to do them all together.
You just mix it with cold water, kind of like
Yeah,
cold water.
just mix it in water.
Like 8 ounce, like a
Yeah, like a standard glass of water. Yeah, like an 8-ounce glass of water. Exactly.
I know you said no grains. I think I've read somewhere that spelt is more alkaline. Is that right? Or, I mean,
Not really. I mean,
stick with
yeah, I don't
grains.
think any of the grains
Okay.
you could technically call alkaline. So what I usually tell people is okay, spelt, great choice. Make it special. Do it once a week, do it once every 2 weeks, do it once a month. Just get these things out of our daily routine. It depends on how deep you want to go or how serious you want to be, or because everybody's in a different place. But if you just want to make a better choice, then just do it, but just do it on rare occasion. Yeah, but I don't think there's any grains that are technically alkaline. Like quinoa, I mean, that's a great choice. It's not alkaline, but it's much better than eating, breads and wheats and, those kind of things. So.
What's the difference between food grade baking soda and the stuff you buy that you put in?
Well, the Arm & Hammer stuff is processed. Yeah, they run it through machines and heat and a purification process. And I don't know all the process involved. I just know that it's an industrial process. Whereas opposed, the other food grade stuff just comes out of the earth like that.
What is baking soda made out of? What is it?
It's a mineral. It comes out of the earth, sodium bicarbonate. It's in the earth like that. Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool. Yes?
So what is, like, 'cause you say that wheat's not really great, but wheatgrass is a really good superfood. Like, what is the difference between wheatgrass?
Oh, good question. Let's see. So how do I answer that? Wheatgrass is still just a grass before it actually becomes a grain. And so once the head forms of the grain, then that's acidic. The wheatgrass is actually very alkaline. And then also once the head sprouts, then you have a gluten as well. And so when you do wheatgrass and you're gluten intolerant, you'll probably be okay. They say people who are like uber sensitive, there is trace amounts in there. But for most people, wheatgrass, they're totally fine even if they have gluten issues. So it's more of a sprouting issue. Yeah.
So
Questions?
You
Yeah.
just mentioned that your urine is not supposed to be clear.
Right.
I've definitely been taught that's how you tell if you're hydrated.
Everybody's been taught that.
Mhm.
I was taught that. So the question is I've been told and taught your urine should be clear. That's what everybody says. That's what everybody in the medical industry says. That's what 98% of people in the natural health industry say. I have found it not to be true. And maybe if I explain it a little bit, maybe it'll make sense to you. We have to be hydrated. If you eat cooked, processed food, which most of us grew up eating, white flour, white sugar, bread, pasta, pizza, crackers, meat, you better drink a lot of water, because there's no water in any of that. You will be chronically dehydrated, which most people are. Plus people smoke and they drink and they do all these things. If you eat raw fruits and vegetables, you are consuming water all day long. You won't be thirsty. You might not even need to drink much water anymore. It's a totally different shift in how your body gets hydrated. When you're drinking tons of water, eating processed cooked foods, you have to drink that water to dilute things, to be removed from your body and nutrients to get into your body, because everything works through the fluid systems of the body. So you have to drink lots of water. But again, if you keep it simple, you keep your diet light, you eat lots of raw fruits and vegetables, you don't have to do that anymore. If your kidneys are blocked up, or if you're overhydrated, you're going to pee all the time, and you're not going to get deep into cleansing your body, which is the job of the kidneys. The job of the kidneys is to find waste and pull it out of the body, and the liver to put waste in the kidneys to eliminate from the body. And the easiest way that I learned this through gardening, because you always look at examples in nature, I have always found that it's easier to overwater and kill my plant than it is to underwater it. Who's overwatered a plant? Okay? You overwater your body. Now, if you're eating processed food, you're going to have to drink some water to help the body have some fluids to deal with all that. But if you go back to eating raw fruits and vegetables, lots of high water content, hydrating fruits and vegetables, you'll be hydrated. You don't need to force extra water. What will happen is your liver will finally go, oh my gosh, I have some poisons here I've been wanting to give to you, my friend, Mr. Kidney, for all of these months, and I haven't been able to do it. Why? Because you've been drinking so much water and you've been so overhydrated, the body all day long is just trying to get rid of this extra water that it has no need for and no use for. And so if you stop that process, and now that doesn't mean don't drink water, because you have to get hydrated. But if you can do it through fruits and vegetables, then your body will start to cleanse and detox. And it's also, I had heard this, I had learned this, and of course I take everything to prayer. I felt the Lord highlight it, and He's shown stuff to me in Scripture, and then I experienced it myself, and I have my clients do it. And I don't know if there's any here who have done some of this stuff. Haven't you? No, it's not you. Never mind. But I have seen it firsthand. Dirty, cloudy, stinky pee. And it just makes sense. How else are any toxins getting out of your body if it's not coming out through your colon, which is just the large, solid, massive waste that you put in your mouth? That's all the colon waste is. Or your kidneys. Right? So you're constipated and you're peeing clear all the time. And in 10 years, you're diagnosed with fibromyalgia. When were you ever getting toxins and waste out of your body? You weren't. They were accumulating. So, yes, I know that sounds weird. Most of the things I learn are contrary to popular culture. Most of the things I learn about Jesus are contrary to popular culture. So, does that answer your question? Okay, cool. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Not related to today. If you're going to do earthing after a plane trip, how long does that have to last? And can it be on grass? Can it be on dirt? So how long do I have to dance in the dirt in
Good
another
question.
country in order to get the benefit of not doing the jet
It's a
lag?
good question. She said, how long do I have to dance in the dirt when I travel to not have jet lag? Because as I've explained in classes before, if you travel somewhere, when you land, take off your shoes and stand on the earth barefoot, and it resets your circadian rhythm. Your body knows now where you are in connection with the earth, and you won't have jet lag.
We'll totally do that.
Yes, and many people have done it, and they all say it works. So I don't know how long because nobody studied it. So I really have no clue. I have no idea. I don't know if 5 minutes your body figures it out. If I was just to throw a number out there, I'd say do it for an hour. So go to a park and just sit barefoot somewhere for an hour and just relax. Enjoy yourself.
Okay.
I'm just making that number up because I really don't know. It could happen in 5 minutes. I really don't know.
You feel better.
There you go.
Earthing.
Earth. Yeah, they have these earthing sheets you can buy to like bring inside your house, but it's the same concept of standing barefoot on the earth. So any other questions? Next week we're doing gallbladder, and then I don't know what's after that, but we're going to be on to G, so that's fun.
I just one other-
You can ask one other question.
I do use that calm at night before I go to bed.
Yes.
Because that has all that magnesium.
Yes.
Is it important, because I'm not taking any calcium or anything now, is it important to have calcium with that? Or, like what I do is I use that vitamin C powder, that's how, when I do my vitamin C, kind of mix the two together.
Right.
And
Yeah, so the question was, she does calm, powdered magnesium is important to have calcium. It is, but you don't have to supplement it. If you're going to supplement it, do a plant-based calcium, because that's where calcium comes from, is plants. And calcium is the most abundant mineral in the human body. But even at that, it's only like 1%. Plant-based calcium. All greens have calcium. So if you're juicing and you're eating salads and you're eating lots of greens and you're eating some nuts and seeds, you should have no concerns about calcium whatsoever. We really shouldn't. You know, the dairy industry wants us to believe differently, right?
Oh, yeah.
You got to do your dairy. But no, really just getting it from plants through your diet is fine. Yeah, so I don't really encourage supplementing calcium unless people feel they need it because they've been given a diagnosis of osteoporosis or whatever. And then, again, make it a plant-based one. Garden of Life, or I think there's a couple companies that it's all from fruits and vegetables. Their calcium sources are. The body understands food. The body understands the things that God has designed.
sometime you might want to do a class on just some recipes or things that you can do to make the fruits and vegetables like fun, because that
Yeah.
would be boring. I think I love fruits and vegetables, but I would be bored in just eating those all the time.
Totally.
And I actually do get energy from eating meat. I don't eat, maybe I'll eat meat 3 times a week.
Right.
But my blood must like it.
Yeah, you feel it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So-
No, that's a good idea, and we've talked about that, and we've done a lot of videos, and we have recipes on our website, but we've never done like a, hey, how do you make fruits and vegetables fun? We actually talked about doing that this summer, but there's just always so much going on. Yeah, there's always just so much going on, and we do it. We do it at with our family. I mean, we're super creative. 90% of what we and our daughters both eat is fruits and vegetables. And so we get these seaweed wraps and we wrap them up. And our daughter's favorite thing is, I'll just give you a couple of quick things. Our daughter's favorite thing is a seaweed sandwich. And so we got these, those seaweed sheets that taste really good. They're kind of salty. We do the seaweed sheets and we put avocado or tomato or cucumber. And we just wrap them up in little sandwiches, and they absolutely love them.
So you don't cook any veggies? I mean, you don't.
We do sometimes, not in the summer.
Cooking spinach and stuff like that is.
Not really in the summer. Sometimes we'll steam some broccoli, but in the winter we'll probably do more soups and steamed vegetables.
And that's okay. It's
Mhm.
winter used.
Yeah, but in the summer we almost never cook. We rarely cook, I should say, in the summer. But there are a lot of fun things you can do with fruits and veggies. And
Seaweed wraps.
seaweed wraps. Yeah, just the seaweed sheets. There's one called Sea Snacks. They're at
Which store would you go to?
Whole Foods, Natural Grocers.
Oh, okay.
What's that other one?
Sprouts.
Sprouts.
Okay.
All those stores will have them.
Grocery stores.
Oh yeah, they
might
probably
not
do.
be in-
They might have the nori sheets and the bigger ones that aren't quite as good, but I like the Sea Snacks ones. But we do lots of smoothies. We do juices. And on those seaweed wraps, you can do tuna. If you want to have a little fish, tuna or salmon, you can do that on romaine leaves too. So because we haven't eaten bread in our family for years, and our girls have really never eaten bread.
That's awesome.
Yep. So I'm trying to think of some other little things we do. I cut zucchini in slices and I dip it in salsa, so that's like chips and dip. Because people like chips and dip, or they like something crunchy. Kale chips is a good little snack. Raw zucchini, just raw zucchini and salsa. It's actually very good. So I don't know, there's 1,000 ideas, but I just can't think of them off the top of my head.
I have one really strange question.
Yes.
You talked about doing raw eggs, and that really floated my boat. So I can do raw eggs.
Okay.
Without any, well, I put it in the smoothie. And
Right.
just, but then I was sharing it with a friend of mine, and she said, "Oh no, you can't do raw eggs. You You can do the yolk but not the white. Because the white stops the absorption of vitamin B12. And I just went,
Yes.
whatever. Is there any truth to that? But she's not the expert by any means, but she's been around the block to figure it out.
Here's my opinion.
Okay, that's
It's
what-
always just my opinion. For thousands of years, people had chickens and ate them and had no concept or idea whatsoever of anything blocking anything based on science.
Amen.
So I don't worry about that kind of little nitpicky stuff.
Okay.
Because if you, and I study all this stuff, and I'm like, Lord, give me like simplicity.
Yes.
You know, there's so much science out there that your brain will just be a fried zombie.
Absolutely.
And you won't even ask the Lord any questions anymore because you're Googling everything.
Yeah.
Okay?
And I don't want to
So
do that.
I'd rather talk to the Holy Spirit than Google. But, so I don't stress out about those kind of things.
Okay, that's good because she is a very nitpicky person.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I went, oh, geez, don't give me that.
Yeah. So, but I do know that if you do them raw in your smoothie,
Yes.
they are easier to absorb than when you cook them. It's definitely
Oh,
easier to
right.
digest and absorb because it's not cooked.
And
Yeah.
my eye doesn't see, the heart doesn't breathe over for my husband.
Right. Would never know it's there, right? And yeah. And people worry, people worry about the salmonella thing and all that, and I just say, well, that comes from sick, dirty chickens. Again, that if your chickens have disease, then yeah, I wouldn't eat those eggs. But it's just common sense, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So-
I don't worry about all
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. Good. Good. Amen and amen.
Awesome.
All right.